everyone. Welcome to another one. I haven't even named the thing yet. Oh yeah, I did. Snail show with Meredith. I did name it last week sometime. She should be popping on here pretty soon. How is everybody doing? What's up?
Hey, how you doing?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's an interesting time. Very interesting. I don't know, how are you doing?
I mean, I'm actually kind of relieved to be able to talk to you because I think you have longer, I think, to acclimate to like the actual reality of what's. I mean, I'm kind of like late to the game. Just so late to waking up in the game. I guess like May of last year was like big shattering. So last night I had a horrible dream that was just so like I was in China in present time.
Yeah?
And so
Wow.
I'm just like pissed and like emotional and like just really like I'm also like, are we recording?
We're live.
Oh.
So it's recording and it's live, so.
Right on, sorry.
Yeah.
So it goes.
That's how it goes. We're trying to do the opposite of what the realm itself is doing, which is trying to, have everything in secrecy. We're just throwing everything out into the open.
Yeah. So, fuck it. I mean, I guess we'll just go there. But so, yeah, I had that dream, and I woke up just feeling so mad because I know that every person, every like list of qualifiers, everyone deserves better. You can be really wealthy, it doesn't matter what your identity is, like everyone deserves better, and that's where I'm at. So good to like kind of bounce that off someone who's maybe like a bit more acclimated and maybe sometimes a bit more neutral. I don't know.
I mean, I started off neutral, but I went more to the strong stance mindset after being too much of a doormat. But in general, I'm neutral. If I pull back as far as I can pull back, then everything's neutral. But in this particular realm, you can't really afford to be neutral. It's just a war here. So you have to at least know what you have to have a semblance of what's going on. If you just stick your head in the sand, you're just going to get run over.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's definitely like draw the line in the sand kind of time,
Yeah.
Where like this is the point at which I do not cross, like, and I guess I have memory of like outside of the construct, and so I like know in my being what is like possible.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, like, what's in our water, our air, not to mention our nighttime activities, it's like, it's just where I'm at, and I really wanted to come with, like, this, like, glow of,
self-assurance.
Being a certain way, and, like, self-contained, and instead I'm just like, this is where I'm at.
Yeah, it's fine. I have a feeling most people are feeling a little skittish during this time. Normally,
yeah.
Normally I'm just. Hold on one second. I gotta turn this thing off.
Oh, I like your pants.
Thank you.
Mm.
My oon speaker is trying to get in on the party.
Yeah, as I was coming on here, my like camera was like, so I had to like restart my computer It's like a whole thing. There's a glitch within a glitch within a glitch within a glitch, like all the time right now.
Yeah. 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 I was just gonna say, like, normally I'm just calm 100% of the time, no matter what's going on, and I still am. Like, nothing really ever gets to my core anymore. But this particular juncture is just like the collective nerves are so wrangled that I feel like I'm tapping into that to some extent, and it's just like, I don't know. We're so blind here. So to try to get a grasp on even what if we were to pick up a hat and put it on, instead of just saying, oh, the avatars are playing things and I don't need to join the game. Even if you were to say, let's pick up a hat and go do something or crusade for something, it's very difficult to figure out where or how or who or any of that stuff. Like,
oh yeah, I mean, yeah, you said we are so blind here, and like I definitely have like noticed that. How should I say this? I'm trying to figure out how to say this in a way that's like, there are some people that like don't think they're blind. I think everyone is like mind wiped and like there's time freezes all the time, and so the gatekeeping, both in like the mainstream and in the alternative community and in the spiritual community, everybody thinks they have it and that they're like 100% and that they have, and I think it's good to be like the wisest person, like admits he knows nothing, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I feel at the same time, like, I agree with that, but at the same time,
I love your fans so much.
Andrea got these for me. I mean, they're very appropriate for the Snail show. I don't think Gary's on here, though. It's just SpongeBob. Thank you, though. I was gonna say, like, when you said we all deserve better, right? I feel like there are a whole bunch of particular things that an aware being should be like second nature for. One of them being you don't know anything, and you admit you don't know anything, and that's like the standpoint. That's one of the things, right? There's like 100 other things that all have to be in place for you not to be doing power grabs and things like that, right?
Right.
And most people don't have a few of those things in place, let alone a lot of them or most of them. And it makes it difficult to, given the circumstances and the atmosphere of suppression, which is currently going full blast. You need all those things. You need all those things to, number one, retain your sanity, and number two, actually get out to anybody. Because there's a certain method to speaking to where you still have somewhat of a voice or a platform. It's just like, you have to have done your homework. And you have to have started doing your homework back in 2001, right? That was a big one. Even way before that. Way before that.
Yeah. There's a lot of like similar astrological markers to 2001 and what happened that year and now. But right now, I mean, the false flags are on steroids. Like, there's like a false flag every day, I feel like. And it's very interesting, you mentioned being calm, and I think that's, less so right now or lately or in the pressure chamber, I think that's good to be able to get right into the eye of the storm, and he said something else too that I wanted to touch on, which is that like frequency warfare is like actively, very actively happening. And I think it's interesting because are you familiar with Suspicious Observers? Like a YouTube channel. He thinks we're on a globe. That's fine. That's his particular spell. Whatever. We all have them. And so, he said something about how like the ionosphere or the magnetosphere or whatever surrounds us like was weakened by like 25% last year.
Yeah.
And that like the Earth like sped up on its axis, like, glitched basically like 28 times. And so I think that we're getting like both like the really like whatever frequency they're playing here today in Charlotte, North Carolina is like heavy and dense and like moving through just like mud. And then there's also like helpful frequencies, I think, that are coming from outside of here to kind of like,
Yeah.
rip the Band-Aid off and...
Yeah, the frequency oscillation is kind of off the charts as well. Like, I've had the ears ringing thing pretty regularly, pretty much all the time. Even now, like if I think about it, it's there. But
yeah.
it was even impinging on my sleep quite a bit. And just in general, in the realm, it's just heavy for the most part, and it's just added. That gets added on to the stuff we see on the screen, which is all just garbage, basically. It's like someone opened up a giant dumpster and they're just like opening it up, right? And we're sitting underneath it, so we're,
absolutely. Especially like, because I feel like I've kind of traded in. Not that I ever was super into watching the news, but I definitely like prior to like getting like the Band-Aid like really ripped off, like I had like a Netflix habit and like
I still have
like
a Netflix
fall asleep
habit.
watching Netflix and like
I consider that to be the news, honestly. Like Netflix sci-fi is the news of the realm. That's why I keep watching.
Oh my gosh, well, and like probably was just watching like the most shallow, mindless. I mean, there is a lot of like sort of like escaping, checking out, that, and it's like, I'm like, no wonder, like, I didn't wake up until May. And I was, like, awake, I was like, the soul is the most important thing. Now's a good time to do your inner work. You'll need it. I don't know why, and I was definitely, I could see entities and, dealt with a lot of that, and I didn't know why. And, then I just like in May of last year, I started to have like like memories of like my abductions and stuff like that, and I was like, ooh, gross, it just that's heavy.
Can
like
you share
I just,
it all about that? Someone was also asking if you could share about abductions. That would be interesting. And also, someone was asking. You said you have memories outside of the construct. If you could share some of that, I think people would.
They're super fucking fuzzy. Like I think a lot of people have like been in here for like a really, 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 really long time. Unfortunately, and maybe fortunately, maybe our outside of here component, or our like future self or whatever it is like logging all this shit, or who knows, right? But I don't know. So I just have memory of like being on like the original Earth, like before we got into here.
Like the organic Earth, not a sim Earth.
Not a sim Earth, right? But like a true earthly experience. And so I think I've heard you talk a little bit about your one experience with like herb, and like so sometimes if people take like psychedelics or if you do like breath work that's like really intense, you can kind of like go outside in nature and like hear and feel and smell and like just know that like the trees, it's like are laughing with you, and like there's like a communion there.
Right.
And it was kind of like that, like all the time, and just being like thousands and thousands of years old and being able to portal wherever you want, and deciding when you were done to just demanifest a body. Like I don't think that the way that we experience like sickness and death and like it's a total inversion. I mean, I think that's pretty like, to me, it's very evident now. I'm like, oh, all this shit that we're going through right now is unnecessary.
Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah, I have a feeling that the death concept was something that was it's invented in matrices, like specifically in matrices. It's not even a thing outside of them, as far as I know. But as a child, you grow up hearing about it, and it's natural to think about dying. And of course, you know, you're confronted immediately with the big, like, what happens when you die thing, and then all the religions swoop in to tell you about it. But when coming out of it, death is just a creation, like it's another creation. And this particular
and
realm,
it's like, I got this, like, kind of, and I struggle with this, because it's like, there's, like, in here, and then there's out there, and then if you zoom really far out, everything is probably way more neutral, but in here, I'm like, ugh, you know, like,
yeah. It's very
sometimes,
polarized.
you know?
It's polarized and dualistic, like, to
and, like, where, like, you know, good and evil may not exist in the same way outside of here, though probably God, I mean, you know, I don't know, but, you know, in here, like, evil is like, it's like a, you know, the movie, Lucy, is that it? Where, like, the red just, like, pours out and, like, all over everything. It's a good one. It's a good disclosure.
Yeah. I haven't heard of it.
Anyways, so just kind of getting back to, like, the original Earth, I have this, just kind of, like, just creating energy and, like, being music and being art and kind of, like, existing in a way that's just, like, so foreign to hear. That I was just shocked. And I was glad that came in May, when I was also remembering the abduction and stuff. I was like, okay, that's a nice, like, contrast. At least there's that to kind of, you know, hold on to. And since then, there have been more outside of here experiences. That's been, I'm just, like, I'm, like, ready. I'm like, okay, let's go. You know, to the...
I think a lot of us are ready for something different, not even necessarily anything in particular. I think I just wanted to comment.
At the bare minimum, we deserve better than this. Anyway, go on.
Yeah. I mean, you can't argue that if/when, I mean, we have to eventually get out, but when we get out at some point, like, we're all going to have the resilience that is just unmatched anywhere. Just because of what we've all been through in here. But I wanted to comment on the good-evil thing. I think that also is at least the way that it's known here is particular to this realm because of the blindness, and strictly because of the blindness, because we see repercussions here to some extent, but we don't see them immediately, and we don't see the causal trail, like, visibly. I have a feeling outside of here, you see the causal trail just, like, fractal itself out however fucking far it goes, and you're not even going to imagine, like, making a ripple that goes and builds up and, you know, it's disastrous. So you don't see the same, I don't think you're going to see in the same way, or you're not going to be blinded and fooled in the same way as you are here. Like, we don't, that's the only reason I meditated in the first place, was because I saw that thing, like, snowball out just off of literally any internal movement that I would make. I would see it go do its thing. So therefore, I was forced to learn meditation, like, on the spot. Otherwise, my whole universe would explode itself in some way, and it just wasn't fun. Like, it wasn't a fun idea.
It was really overwhelming.
Yeah.
And of course, like, I think in this avatar in particular, it's overwhelming. I think maybe, like, in our original bodies, or, like, in our original minds, because, like, we don't have a reptilian brain for no reason, you know? So, like, I think in that state, it's probably more manageable than, like, I mean, I just had, like, no idea what to do with myself in May of last year. And then, like, the way that progressed, like, I'm pretty sure I spent, like, most of the month in bed just crying, you know, honestly.
Were you just having, like, a deluge of memories or something? Like, what happened? Is that just out of the blue?
It's, like, a lot of memory, like, and, like, that came in just, like, at one time. And it was kind of just, like, I mean, maybe, like, I know that sometimes trauma can trigger, like, other traumatic memories, and maybe, like, we are all going through a big fucking trauma right now. Like, maybe we are all being initiated right now. And I, you know, had like a really strong fear response, and I've never had a fear response like this to the initial like escalation of the pandemic. And so I'm like, like I bet that a lot of people were like mind controlled for that moment, and then I'm glad I was able to unpeel from that.
Did you have anybody to talk with about it, or was it a solo type thing?
That's a really good question, because so I had a therapist, and I was trying to talk to her about it, and this is when I very first stumbled upon the concept of handling, and I also like look back at our therapeutic relationship, and I was like, that is very interesting, because, so she basically was like, you're just anxious because there's a global pandemic.
Seriously?
Go back to sleep. And I was like, I don't think we can work together anymore, And so since then, let's see. So since then, I've lost like probably like half of my friends, either like abruptly, like me being like no, or them being like no, or just kind of phasing away because I don't really feel safe. I'm an astrologer, so I was in the spiritual community, and man, the false light here is fucking thick. It's so thick. That's just another blinding agent. It really is. It's like all is happening. This is my ASMR like handling thing gesture, but it's like it's all happening in divine timing. Just call upon Archangel Michael. He'll make all your bad go away. So I definitely had to break up with some people and found some new friends, and
Have you had a significant other or a partner at all through this, or do you?
No, but it's interesting that you say that, because I think like if I can kind of track like what happened before May of last year was like, and I've always like had this like fascination with romantic love and with like various aspects of sexuality, and I think that in itself can be somewhat of a snare, or like a program, or just like a place to put like all of your time and all of your energy, right? So I met someone like 2 weeks before shit hit the fan, and we actually moved in together, and we're still friends like now, but like it was pretty much like the worst thing ever. And then he moved out, and then that's when I had all my memory recall.
Wow. Yeah.
It's been a really intense year, but
there are traps everywhere.
Know than not know. I would rather like walk through the fire than just kind of like not,
There are so many like cliche, like someone said, the new cage. There are so many cliche, sort of like overused mnemonic devices associated with what you would call the awakening. Even that, like every single word has been just like
a great awakening,
abused.
Right?
They've all been abused. All the concepts have been fully fucking abused.
Ascension. Mm-hmm. And, I think I would describe it as a fucking shattering, like truly, like where like if somebody has like mirrors and mirrors and mirrors in their mind, which I think we all do, it was like somebody just took that and just shattered it on the ground. And it was, I don't know, I've always been an intense person, like in nature, in essence. So I feel like I had the tools. I mean, it was really hard, but I had the tools to be able to navigate. Like, just because I had been doing astrology, I'd been doing energy work on myself and others. Sadly, I can't even think about that. Like, at this point, who knows what was really going on in that space. I mean, you talked about the new cage, and like that sort of like, it's like the difference between like an LED light and a candle, it like, it just doesn't line up really. But I was trained in Reiki, and when that's when I started to have major entity attachments and like just weird like anomalous shit, and I just like I don't know.
I was in Reiki for a while. Like I studied Reiki myself. I have like level 2 or something. My
I
my
love
good
OT.
friend, very good friend Eden is in San Francisco, and she does Reiki all the time. I've had her on here a couple times.
Love it.
Um,
I think it just depends on like what the setup is, or like what your teacher, who your teacher is, and like what. Like it was just. I think for me that was just maybe not that great of an experience.
yeah. Anything and everything can be compromised, and most of the things here are. There are not too many people or institutions or methods of study that are not infiltrated to some extent. And even when I say infiltrated, I don't mean like... It's like infiltrated with selfishness or something. It's not even infiltrated by, this particular faction or that army or this such and so. It's infiltrated by our own ego blindness. Most of these things are. And there are lots of opportunities to grab onto something and give yourself another label, and I am this, and I do this, and yada, yada, yada. And the actual reality of life itself is never flashy. It's never, yelling from the rooftops about how great it is. It doesn't say anything. It's just silent. But the actual beauty is in the silence. So if you get out all these things that have a history and they're dealing with this sort of energetic mishmash, for lack of a better term, that we've been building up. Like we've been building up this just ball of yarn internally for years and years, and however long we've been in here. So all these things attempt to deal with that in some constructive way, but being that everyone's blind, it is the blind leading the blind to some extent, unless you've done enough work to where you can speak without getting out of hand and trying to grab power. Like that's the main thing that how do I say it? That's the defining feature of this place, is that nobody has power, okay? At least not the kind of power we're used to, where you can sway people, you can move mountains, literally, trees, like, flow through the air, fly, etc. Nobody has that here. It's just like there's the mental. The mental does have power, so there's the power of words and communication. And then there's like physically moving yourself around or trying to accumulate money or trinkets. The type of power that we're used to having, that I remember in my way back vague recesses of my mind, that's not here. And the only way you get that here is by buying into the beast economy energetic system, which is, we all know what that is. That's not something that regular souled beings are interested in getting into, even if you're just playing it as a part of a game that, souls do all these things, or maybe I'm doing service to self or something like that. It's difficult. Overall, it's difficult to actually have sway here without selling a piece of yourself.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I couldn't have said it better. I think, it's tricky. Like, money is one of those things that I just, never have cared about, at all. Like, right now, I'm pretty, and it always comes when I need it. Like, I'm never, ever, ever without, which is very interesting and amazing. And, I have a lot of gratitude for that. But I could probably have, $5 in my bank account right now, and then a couple of days later, it'll be corrected. But it's just, I don't know. I mean, in the memory I have of, original Earth, there was no money, there was acceptance for value, but there wasn't this trading sort of system. Because I also have memory of Atlantis, and that's where I remember, and I could be wrong, but this is just these pieces that I'm putting together, where that's sort of where the very, very masculine sort of drive to attain and to conquer or whatever, was really, present. And it's funny because I remember Atlantis so differently now than before May of last year. I remembered it as, this utopian, amazing place, and then now I'm oh, there were, cyborgs in Atlantis, and, there were fucking, that was a highly technologically advanced society, and and I'm just wow, and and dark magicians, and just weird time distortions. I don't think, and I'm not even too sure, and maybe you know this, but I don't know this for certain or at all, you know, if Atlantis was like the beginning of this, or if like that was outside of this. I'm not clear on that. Anyway, or the inception of this.
I'm not clear on that either. It's
fun to try to piece it together. At least.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. It's kind of difficult to. I think there have been so many iterations of this particular realm, and then memory wipes that, like, the soul part of us, the core that retains memory, the Akashic record part that has, maybe Akashic record is the wrong word, but we have a spot that can retain information that's like safe.
God knows,
right? And there are so many like iterations or variations of this place that I think our mind gets confused when we try to say, oh, was it here, was it there, was it outside of the realm?
Who fucking knows, you know?
It's just difficult. And like, I don't know, I did the meditation thing mainly for personal like security and safety, so and also that I didn't want to have the fucking thing shaking around all the time, because like if you get into a substance or you know go too deep in something, literally you're intertwining with the materiality of it, and it's twisting and turning and sucking you in and spitting you out, and it's just like dizzy and it's too much. Like it can overwhelm your senses. So like a lot of my thing was just I wanted to have peace again. I wanted to not be like flying all over the place all the time. So yeah, so that's what I came to. And now the thing for me at least is holding itself together reasonably well now, but I don't know exactly how I would acclimate even coming out of here to some sort of organic reality again, because now I'm used to the quietness, which I assume is part and parcel because it is a simulation type thing where the physicality is a pretend thing. And I don't know if hopping back into an actual organic thing, which actually is wiggling and moving, and you know you're all the particles at the same time, and you're not just mind projecting an image like this place appears to be. I don't know how easy of a transition that would be for a lot of us.
I think we'll fuck around and find out.
Yeah.
You know, like in this, I think that you know that could be something that's quick approaching, maybe, potentially.
Yeah.
Just because it just seems, just based on, like, the stuff that I was telling you about the ionosphere, or the magnetosphere, or all the spheres, and, you know, like, also kind of looking at, too, like, I'm not sure if this is the sun, or the sun simulator, but it's, like, going fucking crazy since November of last year.
The weather is really wacky. It's very wacky.
Yeah, like, so I definitely think that, like, okay, just kind of, like, touching on some of the things very lightly that are going on right now, like, to me, based on, like, I guess, like, retrospective research I had to do on, like, New World Order kind of shit, like, it seems very rushed and, like, very haphazard and very sloppy, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's like a half-ass, like, they're waking up, go throw something in the way, you know, at least stop them
Insurrection,
a little bit.
yeah.
Yeah, it's just silly. The writing is absolutely horrific. Like, if you're thinking, how do we write an adventure for these people in here? It's just mind-bogglingly horrific writing. It's not interesting. There has to be something in there. Like, you can't just say, oh, okay, well, we're one side, they're the other side, so here, what's our strategy? Shut them up. Don't let them say anything ever. Shut them up in every single possible way. And then you're like, okay, so you've shut everyone up. The one that's shutting them up, you have something interesting to put there in the place, right?
Right.
No, not at all.
No.
They have nothing whatsoever. They have, like, drooling Biden or something, like, or any of them.
Who is most definitely, like, not the same Joe Biden as we saw, like, several years ago.
He's probably been cloned, like, 20 times.
Oh my gosh, for sure. I think we all, you know.
I don't know.
I definitely have, I think, clones, just based on, like, things and stuff that I've realized. It's crazy how, like, I don't know. I mean, I've had, like, moments before May of last year where I was, like, missing time and, like, things just felt so weird, and this place does have like a heaviness to it, and I always felt like this wasn't my home. People were just like, you're an alien, you know, and oh, you're not from Earth, you know, but what is Earth? And like, what the fuck are you talking about, you know? Just, anyway, so. Oh, and oh my gosh, speaking of handling and false light and all of the above, I was actually going to, over the phone, a school in Colorado, like a psychic school, which I call now like the False Light Institute, but I will not say their name for obvious reasons, because I'm like slandering the shit out of them, you know, because I wrote my teacher at the time, and she was like, Earth is a school where beings come to create energy, and here's Archangel Gabriel. And still there were some really awesome tools that I was blessed with. I mean, you know, I think some people see that, quote, evil or whatever, and then they're like, Jesus, you know, they kind of like throw the baby out with the bathwater. Right. So I did get some tools that as soon as I started to remember, like, I emailed her, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I just can't, like, adjust to this reality, like, at all. Like, what is this? Is this all a lie? Like, is this all an illusion? You know, and just, and she was like, oh, that's a very interesting story you created for yourself. And I was like, gosh, you're either really, really, really awake to where, like, you think that, like, because is it all just me, like, doing those kinds of things to myself? Or is it, like, you know, I was stunned when I got that email, and I immediately withdrew my tuition. The good thing is that I've had a lot of shitty relationships, and so I, like, just know to believe myself and, like, know to advocate for myself, you know, so. Yeah.
See, like, there's a thing of it's all good and well to say, oh, everyone creates their own reality, and, you know, your perspective is different from everyone. It's fine to say that, okay? That's another one of the things that I was talking about, the thing that you need to have a certain amount of these little trinkets inside your mind, okay? But there also has to be some consensus on what the fucking, you know, reality that we're all looking at is fucking doing, okay? If it's doing something over here, if it's like, okay, time for everyone to go into the thing over there, and then you see smoke coming out of the ceiling, and then you never see the people come out, you need to say, like, what the fuck happened? Where are we in Auschwitz? Like, what's going on? You need to be able to say that without them saying, oh, you're crazy, they're just in there having fun. You know, like, there has to be some level of being able to question the consensus reality. There must be.
Yeah, for sure. And it's really interesting how I've been thinking about this a lot, actually, in the last few months, is like, because there was another, in my opinion, false light teacher. Actually, I look at her face and I can tell that she's, like, absolutely like a robot. Like, and she, like, I mean, that's just like another story, but she has a lot of teachings, and in her teachings, she says, this is the absolute truth with a capital T, and if someone doesn't have, like, the same or similar perspective of what this T truth is, you know, then they are in their ego, in their shadow, or they are connected to the Luciferian grid, which, okay, maybe that's the thing, like, you know, I've had a couple of experiences in my life where I've, like, astral projected, and then, you know, you, like, can't, like the containment, you know? Yeah. But I've been wondering, like, you know, I don't think that we can find absolute T truth in here.
I don't know if we can find it. I don't know if we can find it out there either, to be honest with you.
Oh, shit.
What?
It's like, you know, I think that it can be, like, objective and subjective at the same time, and that is one thing that I have been really vocal about in the process of, like, of just what we're going through right now, because everybody is so different, right? There's like clones, there's Sims, there's bots, there's, like, Matrix Sentinels, like, agents, like, there's all these different they're souls that are in origin, not in expression, but like in origin, service to others in human form, and then there's souls that are in origin or in expression or both, service to self, like, you know, like reptilian kind of, you know, just, I mean, and so I kind of think that like this one size fits all kind of like approach to anything, and like we can see several of the different like strings of the thread that are kind of like, you know, thought policing and pushing just like one certain given narrative, when I'm like, actually we're all very, very different, and like very, very different levels and very, very different kinds of beings and people, and not empty, you know, whatever, you know,
empty vessels.
Yeah, and I think there is, sometimes I'm just like, I don't know, just a little bit like, okay, well, everybody is so different, and we're all perceiving, quote, reality or whatever, the dream, through, you know, our own eyes, and then it's like, what's behind our eyes? You know, I know a lot of people have, like, eye implants, and a lot of people, like, have energetic stuff that, you know, like, kind of shifts the way that they see the world, and it's...
Yeah. That's what Becky does all the time, is she goes and, like, sees what implants your light body has, with that narrative.
Oh, gosh.
And removes them, or says she can remove them, but... You know, I don't have a problem with people pushing different narratives. Like, that's what makes the thing interesting. If everyone was literally pushing the same narrative, we'd all be bored, right?
Yeah.
But when like there's not a lowest common denominator narrative that kind of at least speaks to the diversity of multi-dimensionality that actually exists here. From the news, okay? The news should be able to have a lowest common denominator, base reality that they can speak to, or at least hint at, okay? They don't do that.
Instead of like a reality they're trying to make manifest, right?
They don't do that at all. They don't do that at all. They literally talk about one-dimensional things and the same one-dimensional things ad infinitum, and it's fucking boring, and you can see the mind virus in literally every single advertisement. It's just sitting there like, ugh. Come to me so I can eat you. Like, it's so fucking obvious. It's boring.
It's such a spell. It really, really is, like, such a fucking spell.
Yeah. And you can see, like, there's one thought form entity that's running through all of the money, okay? Like, all of the advertisement, there's just a thing, what we call the mind virus, that wants to eat. And it doesn't eat money, it doesn't eat people like physical human beings, it just eats loosh. It eats like the energy
yeah,
that people put out. And everyone's riding on the coattails of that thing, because, you know, anytime energy is flowing around, there's always, you know, someone can come and scavenge. Like, we're scavenging on the back of that thing, which is like, just mouth is open, is trying to eat everything. And, like, it's...
Ugh.
You can see that there's so much being taken out of every transaction, even on the dollar. If you look at, you know, how many hands are grabbing a bit of it every time it passes to somebody else, you know, it's just like an overall entropic shithole that's just sucking everything down to somewhere. And I promise you, if you looked at the somewhere, you would see an interdimensional little fuck with his mouth wide open, and he's just gobbling all the energy.
Matrix demon.
Yeah. Like a little gremlin.
Oh, Lord.
Just like a little dark gremlin. And he's probably scared, like, probably wouldn't know what to do if people actually saw him, because he's used to being hidden.
Like the Truman Show?
Yeah.
Have you seen that movie?
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh. So I saw this meme, and it was really funny, and it said, it was Jim Carrey's character, you know, Truman, and he was like, it's a picture of him, and he's doing the big, like, Jim Carrey face, Jim Carrey big wave, you know? You know, and he's like, and the meme read, like, if you were alive in 2021, you were being gaslit way more than me. It's like, oh my gosh. I fucking feel that. I feel that.
More than Jim Carrey in the Truman Show?
Yeah, I think, yeah.
That's what it was saying, like, you're being gaslit more than him in that show? Okay. Yeah.
Because everybody starts to, like, as soon as he realizes that, like, something's off, something's not right, suddenly...
Everyone is on his case now, right?
Fuck yeah, oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know, and in May, actually, so I have an ex-boyfriend, and he has an Ouroboros tattoo on his chest. Like, it's just, like, the most formulaic thing, actually, ever, you know, and, like, I got a little bit of memory beginning of May, and then him and I spent, like, a week hanging out, because he moved when I moved. He moved when we were together to a minute away from me.
What?
And then we broke up. But, like, just so bizarre, right? And so he contacted me, like, right after, the you know, the veil was slowly, not so slowly after a couple of weeks there, but, like, was being peeled back.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, so I spent, like, a week hanging out with him, and, you know, we would go to the grocery store, and he would be like, Meredith, you know, and just, like, the most, like, a truly entropic person from my perspective, you know, and, like, no inner work, just, like, surface level, like, virtue signal shit. So, he was like, you know why we wear a mask, Meredith? It's not for us, but it's for others. And I was like, oh, you know, like...
You just, like, flinch, you're like, oh, that one hurt. Oh. Yeah.
And then, you know, like, if I would have followed that through, which thank God, I mean, I think that was genuinely like go back to sleep, shut it down. Like, you know, I swear that if we would have, like, if I would have ignored all of my get the fuck out of here, like, impulses, you know, he would probably be like, if you don't get the vaccine, you know why we get the vaccine, right? It's not for us, but it's for others.
Right.
Get the fuck out of here. Sorry.
Is there a fly?
Do you have any, like, questions or anything that are coming in? I kind of see you looking at the...
Not a ton. We have a few people. I just wanted to
Hello.
say hello to Master J, Matt McDonald. We have Nigel, Ben. We have That City up in here. We have like 17 people with us, but not
what's up?
Not a ton of
What's
chat.
up, y'alls?
If any of you have any topics you'd like us to touch on, then go ahead and leave a thing in the chat, or if you want to ask Meredith something specifically about her own path, yeah, go ahead and leave a message.
Otherwise, I'll ask you a question.
Yeah.
What's your birthday?
July 3rd, 1985.
Really?
Yeah.
19 what? 75?
85. I'm not that old.
85? Sorry,
I'm not 40 yet. Not quite.
1985. You know, you were almost born in 1984.
Yeah, I know.
Did you know that hashtag is banned from Twitter?
1984? Seriously?
Really?
Wow. We're watching...
isn't that something else?
Yeah, not really. It's pretty boring. We're watching Man in the High Castle, which is pretty phenomenal. It shows, you know, the Hitler nonsense, and, you know, the realm is trying to push us into the Fourth Reich right now. At least that's what it looks like. So if you watch if you watch that series, you'll get a decent understanding of
I need to watch
eugenics.
It because that's come up twice today.
If you want to understand eugenics, yeah, go watch Man in the High Castle.
I don't know. I mean, my last lifetime in the realm was, well, first of all, did you know? I didn't know this until like fucking recently-ish. You know, is like apparently you can have inserts of whole ass past life stories that aren't even real.
Yeah, I knew about that.
And so I had like something like that, and now I'm like looking at the past lives that I've had, and I'm like, oh fuck, you know. So definitely like my last life, or one of my last lives, because there's like a lot of different time streams, and there's a lot of different like like simulated other dimensions, I'm pretty sure, like within this all, and they kind of overlap in ways that are kind of weird, you know, and so, I had like a memory recently of like having a lifetime like being experimented in that way, and then I was like, no wonder I fucking revolted as soon as, you know, I heard about the the jab or the any kind of like mandate, you know, I'm like, yeah, that's the one size fits all kind of driving thing, and that
there's no one size fits all. It's one size barely fits one person, let alone like two.
You can fucking say that.
We have Fabian up in the house. We got Mr. West. Welcome, you guys.
How's it going?
Someone said, does anyone struggle with having their dreams?
With having dreams?
Yeah. As if the frequencies are blocking them.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, sometimes. It depends, like, well, okay, so maybe this is like a trigger warning or like a red pill suppository. I'm pretty sure that a lot of people, if not everyone, is like in some way, shape, or form tampered with at night. Like regardless of whether or not, like, I mean, because people just think they're so sovereign, right? And like, everybody I think is like, is tampered with in some way, shape, or form. So for me, like when I don't dream, and when I wake up sore, like physically sore and like kind of off and like druggy, you know, I'm like, well. Yeah.
Andrea will wake up a lot of times and be like, I felt like I just ran a marathon last night. Or she'll wake up and she'll be like, I feel like I was in a fist fight last night. I feel like, you know, I was throwing down and there was a fight and, you know, I'm sore. A lot of times she said that. I've had similar things as well.
Of course, yeah. So I think that's like, you know, just indicative of something, and I think it's like really good not to torture yourself with what exactly that is. I think actually not having full memory, I don't think anyone has full memory regardless of what they say. Like, I don't think having full memory is like even safe.
It's not, and some of the atrocities that we've been through and seen they can't even be held. Like, you can't look at it again without going insane or trying to kill yourself, or like a lot of them they're too traumatic. The stuff that this realm tortures consciousness. That's the basis of this place, and it's not
no lies detected.
It's not obvious that that's the nature of this reality until you dip your toe in somewhere where you're not supposed to, but it's just it's not something really to whine about necessarily, but like, well,
I could probably whine about it, but it's like, it just kind of,
it's a machine. It's a machine that uses our energy as fuel, so like, there's a certain instance, even with the with all of it, the torturing of beings, that you can denounce it and say this is horrifying and it shouldn't happen, and you can also, at the other hand, say, well, we do mean shit to animals and we eat them and we consume them, and it's the same shit. Like, we can only hold our moral thing up so high until we take a look in the mirror and see, oh, we're doing the same shit to our animals.
So I'm vegan, and like used to be before last year, was very militant about it. And I just think people say, and I don't really agree with this anymore, but have regurgitated it at times, like throughout my life, like that there is no ethical consumption under capitalism, you know, but I really just think that they're like, I don't think capitalism, communism, you know, just like nothing really works in the way that we would like it to, right? Yeah. So I just don't think that, you know, I don't know.
You're saying you don't have a problem with consuming meat, is that what you're saying? Now,
yeah, because I can recognize too that like somebody could be like from a Draco bloodline or something, you know, or like, you know, have that sort of like need to consume meat. Maybe it's a blood type, maybe it's something like a soul signature.
Yeah.
But I can't like be the judge of that, you know, necessarily. And
right.
I want to say something too with regard to that, like, because for me, I've been trying
incarnation
trying to have more compassion for individuals and less compassion for
corporations
system, basically. You know, because I think I can be really hard on myself about the likes of such things, and I know right now there's like a huge like divide and conquer thing that's going on, which like some of it is kind of necessary, like the sorting hat, you know, and you know, I just don't want to participate in that really. Oh, and then I just remembered something else that's actually in relation to that person's question about dreams.
Mm-hmm.
I stopped smoking herb because I was like, let me tell you, I was like, wake up in the morning, you know, like just always.
Wake and bake.
Hi, baby. You want to meet my cat?
Yeah. Oh.
He's so good. This is my Casanova.
We had a cat that looked just like that. He's gray, right?
Mm-hmm. He's a Russian blue Siamese mix, which is just, those are two of my favorite cats, actually, like, combined. Hi, Jojo.
What's his name?
But yeah, so I was pretty much, like, constantly smoking herb, like, and then I stopped, like, right before I got, like, a little bit more, like, awareness in dream time and more memory. So I'm not sure. Every substance, every action kind of either takes away or adds, you know?
Yeah. I had the impression during my weed trip, which there was nothing fun about it or relaxing or anything. It was just a interdimensional fall through space, through matter, being matter, falling, horrifying everything. I had the impression when I came out of it, finally, that's just another thing that consumes the human's energy, and it tricks people into thinking that it's relaxing, and then once they get in there, they're like, oh, it's kicking and screaming and, you know, hating being consumed. And then as it's wearing off, this is just something I instantly concocted when I was coming out. I was like, oh, it's just another thing that's eating our energy, and it just pretends that it's nice. And you can't exhibit
I think a lot can be that.
You can't exhibit any like, it has you when you're in the thing, so you're not like saying, oh, this hurts, you know, stop eating me or something like that. But that's just what I thought. I was like, oh, this just eats people, and, you know, it's hiding in plain sight.
For sure.
I
think, you know, there's something different, too, about the herb that was going around when I was, like, I mean, I started smoking when I was, like, 12, you know, just because I was kind of, like, I was in with the wrong crowd, but I was also, like, just so sensitive and so, like, get me the fuck out of here, like, but I noticed something different in the way that, like, it showed up, like, when I was young versus, like, now. I mean, that shit is weaponized now. Like, it's really, really, like...
Yeah, it's definitely...
I think it's sprayed with, like, those little nano-aliens and, and, like, I think maybe there's, like, a frequency that's played over it that's very, like, you know, destruct.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Thank gosh for animals. Like,
right?
You know... Let me see. You have your baby right there?
You want to see the baby?
Yeah, I want to see it. Them. They, them.
Are you trying to use the pronouns correctly?
Yeah, I want to be respectful.
We just weighed him. We've had him for like exactly a month yesterday.
Oh
and
what's his name? Is his name like Midnight or something?
Echo. His name is Echo. He's sleeping right now.
Goodbye. Oh.
We just weighed him, and he's like 5 pounds exactly right now. And he's like 3 months old right now, so this is a monster panther cat.
He's gonna be big. That's
Yeah.
adorable. Yeah, I'm you know, it's like right about that time of the month I almost started crying, like when you brought him on here. What would you have done if I just started sobbing because of the cuteness of him?
I mean, Andrea she's a water woman, so I'm pretty used to it.
I was thinking too, I think like maybe like an hour. I was cooking my lunch, which is right here, untouched, and I was thinking about you guys together and like how nice it must be to have like that kind of compadre. Like, I just don't think that like two reals like being together is very like, I don't think that's very common. I think there's a lot of like stuff that goes on in the hidden, like with relationships and stuff like that. So it's just really like, I don't know, lovely. Because you seem very supportive of each other.
Yeah, it's very unusual. I had the feeling, because she's, I think she told you, or she's from North Carolina also. Oh. And she's from Raleigh.
From Raleigh, huh?
So when we were talking, I just had the sense that there are entities and beings that don't really want this thing to happen because we're two powerful beings, and if you get together, then there's double, triple, whatever the power. So there's going to be interference. I had that feeling from the get, and I just laid low. I was very quiet with the whole thing, and I wasn't like trying to make it to be something. I was fine whether it happened, whether something happened or not, and I had no dog in the fight. I had no like, I wasn't trying to manipulate it at all, and she was kind of doing the same thing from her end, and somehow it came together, but we had to be very quiet about it because I was thrown many love bite nonsense things.
Oh my god.
Lots of them. And they were for the most part bad. I learned something from every one of them, but for the most part it's just more nonsense.
That's interesting that you bring that up. That's like my entire like dating history is like
love bites.
Yeah, and the way that kind of like looks retrospectively with more memory, and like then I found actually her work, and I have both of her books now, but but yeah.
What's her name?
Eve,
yeah. Did you know I did an interview with her and Lada in person?
Mm-hmm. I think I watched it, honestly, because that was when I was like first. Like, I mean, maybe not first, but like, I was just trying to get a sense for
anything.
What the fuck is going on, Oh, and oh my gosh, I meant to tell you too, because when I was first having that like memory recall, I started thinking that I was having visions of like future dystopian times,
Yeah.
And then now I think that was actually like simulated my lab experiences, or like simulated end time experiences. And I think that there's aspects of the machine or different beings or whatever you want to call it that like really wants to see certain things go in a certain direction or like make manifest, where like the ending of this movie might be like kind of traumatizing, but now I'm kind of like, haven't we been through enough? Like, haven't we been through enough? Why do we have to go through that?
I mean,
like, do we get a choice? Like, that's the one thing I think with like the truth movement that I have to be cautious of is the sort of like end of days, and are there timelines, or is it like certain? Because I don't think anyone in here is clear enough to know that it's certain, no offense to anyone, but it's just like, I wonder if like, what if it's totally unexpected, like out of left field?
I think that's what we're setting up for, honestly. I feel like that. Even from the perspective of just, the Godhead incarnating into beings and trying to have a good time from that perspective, you're going to want to have it just, every single movement is going to be a fucking surprise, and it's not going to turn out anything like anybody thought it was going to. That's how I
Yeah.
feel like it's going to go down.
What if it's like seamless, full disclosure, and like money, but like not cursed money, you know? But like
so we can play.
reparations.
So we can all finally play in a fucking game, like for the first time ever.
I mean,
That would be nice.
I know that is sort of like, it's been described to me by someone that I really, really trust that we are on timeline 0 and that like everything will in fact be fine, and if it's not fine, well, this is still like not really exactly as real as it is.
Mm-hmm.
So either way, it's graduation, but like I do feel that there is a faction that is pulling for like at least like a less like a better timeline. I mean, however much they're up against, like I don't exactly know. I know I've rescued kids before in some of my experiences, so who knows?
What do you mean, like, how would you do that? Like a dream state?
I just have memory of like being underground and like being sort of like emotional support for children and people that witnessed what we witnessed, and you know, everybody seemed to be very concerned with like getting them out of there, and I think there were some explosions of the dumbs and stuff like that, but I think one of those was like a dark force play. But that's just how it shows up for me. I don't know, you know, that seems to track with like what some people are saying, that, you know, that's been a thing, and people say it's for different reasons, and I don't claim to know, but
I don't know how. I know that I feel like the controllers, they don't really have consciousness in them. I don't know. I think they're just Matrix plays, like Biden is a Matrix like program. I don't feel like there's some creative force sitting here trying to make this an exciting dystopia. I just don't feel like that. I feel like
an exciting dystopia.
Yeah. That's not happening. It's just like a dumb, out of control train that's just going, and, you know, okay, make everyone wear masks. Okay, make everyone not talk to each other. Make everyone scared of everyone else.
Everyone put a butt plug in and hold your finger to your nose and hold your arm up like this, and then walk around on this one arm.
Yeah.
Authority says, Big Brother says, you have to do it.
Yeah, so you have to do it.
So you have to do it.
And there's not even conversation about it. The NPCs don't talk about it. They just do it and go on their robot route, and we have to sit there and walk next to them, and it's annoying. But
I don't think all NPCs are following the script.
You want to see? Our cats are like lovers now after a month.
I will cry. I'm warning you. Oh my god, that is so special. Is it give it lit?
So Spazzy is the bigger one. She's our girl, and she.
Oh my gosh.
She goes in.
She goes in. The universe is so big, but we are so small. No, but I'm just kidding. But that is sweet.
Yeah.
Here's my good boy. I don't know. Kind of closed, kind of messy, but can you see him? Yeah.
What's his name again?
Casanova.
Nice.
Because he's a lover. Yes, he is. Alright, but yeah. So, anyhow.
I was just... Spazzy has a period, like, cat period, every single month. And
cat period?
Yeah, like she goes into heat.
Aww.
So she's running around moaning and rubbing on everything and, like, slinking with her ass dragging on the ground. And
she's like, do it! Fucking do it!
Yeah.
Fucking do it!
Yeah. So we looked it up, you know, how to deal with this, try to get some tips from the people, and they were like, you know, you can rub your finger around where the cat, you know, like you're not like, probably sounds bad, but you're basically just you're rubbing the cat and helping her to release some energy. Not like on her actual like cat vagina, but you're like sticking your finger in around that. Like, it probably sounds grosser than it actually is, but.
Who cares?
But anyway,
I think it's funny, like,
we have to get her all the time, like help her to release some of her energy. But now this little
I feel like that's really nice.
Yeah. He's jumping on her now. Like he's already straddling her and like biting her neck and going through all the motions. And he's only 3 months old. Like he doesn't know.
And she's like, "Do it! Don't just fucking talk about it."
Right. But he can't. He's too young. So.
Do you mind if I really quickly BRB 1 moment?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
See what do we have? Comments. I saw somebody's comment disappear. Hey Nigel. Nigel says, Andrea's art is so lovely. My children wear it. I see it as protection for them. Yeah, she makes amazing stuff. She just keeps going. I think, what do we have? Some recent creations here. I can get this up without destroying everything. She's really into pendants right now.
How cool.
She's made so many things. I mean, for the suppressing of all things creative and beautiful nature of this realm, she's done really well for what? She has like 120 sales.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I definitely missed the like visual arts gene.
Oh yeah.
Oh fuck yeah, I did. I'll see something that's like so elaborate in my mind, and then I'll like try to draw it on paper, and it's like a stick figure, you know?
Well, that's not necessarily genes. You just need to practice. Andrea was not like an artist, like confident artist when I first met her. She was just trying to get into painting and stuff, and she was like not super confident, and she just practiced and kept practicing and honing techniques, and now she's burning leather and making pouches. Like,
love that.
We had my boss's dad is a hunter, and he had these elk teeth. These like giant. They were round looking. They were kind of interesting looking. But he's like, can she make me a necklace with those? And I want what was it? The stone was called. It was like aquamarine. That was the type of quartz he wanted, because that was his birthstone.
Pretty.
And she didn't really want to do it because she likes creating things, and this was essentially just throwing teeth onto a necklace with some of the rocks, and she wasn't super excited about doing that, but she ended up doing it, and we gave it to him, and he loved it. So, and she had like these really strong hemp rope pieces. They were like 20-pound individual strands, and she wove them together to make like a 4-strand braid, which was incredibly strong, and it's never going to fall off of his face. And he paid her, he paid a total of like $200 for that thing.
Wow. But, hey.
Yeah.
Can't be mad about it, but also, like, I'm sure that, like with my work and in astrology, there are some people that I can go, like, super fucking deep with, like all the way, and then there are other people who are like, when am I gonna get married? And I'm like, like, what the fuck you want me to do,
Yeah. Did you ever see Gayatri? Did you see any of my talks with her?
I'll go back and look.
Yeah, she's from Singapore, and she does the same. She does like astrology type stuff, but I think most of her clients are like, who likes me, and when am I gonna fall in love, and this type of stuff. But that's what pays, right? Like, people pay that. Those people want to pay money for that type of shit, right?
And like, that's where like it's tricky, right, with the money thing that we were talking about before, because do you take the money and like, or do you like say like, I want to hold space for a certain kind of clientele, not really interested. Like, sometimes I get like into these ethical sort of conundrums. Like, this one girl fucking like, this was like, maybe this was a year or two ago, so like before Big Shattering, but still same person-ish, and have like a compass, like a moral compass, and kind of, like within reason. But like, she was asking me if I could read someone else's thoughts.
Okay.
What the fuck are you just having thoughts, you know?
Why would you want to
dude-
read someone else's thoughts?
I mean, sometimes, like, if I'm standing beside someone and, like, say they are, like, thinking aggressively at me, I can definitely, like, hear that and feel that and, like, be in that, you know? But, but not, like, you know, there's definitely a lot of, like, the spiritual community at large in, like, all of its many, it's like a huge fucking umbrella that's, like, not as pretty as you think it is, and is, like, you know, sort of, there's tons of different, you know, people and branches, and, but it's really, like, yeah.
The main issue I have with all of these people is the lack of humility. That's the number one problem I have. Because, not, just because it's ugly, like, to see someone that is like, this is how it is, and I know this is how it is, and you know they're full of shit because there isn't an how it is, there is not a how it is, it doesn't exist,
right.
It's a big lie. So if they're saying that and they're believing that, it's just like, it's just bad taste. It leaves a bad taste in my mouth. If someone can sit there and be creating and manifesting a reality with their words, and to have the gall to say, this is the only way, out of infinite ways, the words that are coming out of my mouth of God, like, this is the only thing. It's like, no, that's, no. No. Not at all.
Maybe, like, you've been programmed to say exactly that, to manifest exactly this. I was gonna say, but Gary, your thoughts create your reality, and the universe is a mirror, so what does that say about you? So tired of that shit, I don't know. You caught me on, like, an interesting day, where I'm like, fuck you all, you know?
Yeah, I get over it. I get over it so quickly. And
That's
like,
good.
At the same time, with people and this thing that appears to be happening on the television screen, like, it's not that important in terms of, like, what people are saying we need to be scared of. Like,
I know, right? Oh my god!
Like, don't take the jab, don't take the devil's blood, because you're going to get cut off from God, and, you know, we're all going to be herded into camps pretty soon, or else, you know, since Trump isn't winning, then, you know, Biden's going to turn us into the Fourth Reich, and nobody's going to be able to speak their minds anymore, or whatever people are worried about. Like, it's just, it's giving power to the thing, which, admittedly, it has some power, a little bit. It has a little bit of power because we move about our day in a relationship.
Interfacing with it constantly.
Well, with money, right? There is a relationship with money, so we are affected to that extent. But if someone comes banging down your door and tries to jab you, you have just been given permission to grab your weapon and stab them in the fucking face. It will be fun. Like, it will be an interesting thing that will happen. Like, you are fully legally allowed to destroy the shit out of that person.
You better believe if somebody shows up at my door, I'm not even a violent person. I'm actually, like, intrinsically non-violent, but I will fuck someone up. Like, if they try to... This is, like... I mean, that is, like, what I've been feeling about this, too, even before I've kind of gotten other senses of confirmation, is that it is soul disconnecting. I don't know if it's soul stealing. I mean, if we are, like, incredibly multidimensional, complex beings, like, if we're in here and out there, I don't know, like, if it's soul stealing, like, because I was thinking I'm gonna lose my fucking spirit. I was like, oh my god. That drove me fucking nuts for, like, a weekend.
Yeah. I mean,
last weekend.
There is soul harvesting stuff. We're probably in one right now. Like, we're probably being bled out by being in this fucking machine in the first place, and it is itself a soul harvesting machine that we're already in. So there's not really any need to, like, worry about, oh god, is someone going to come try to steal my fucking soul? Because it's already happening, and you're still fine. Like, you seem to be talking just fine, and, you know, you have to remember you're. It's a fucking game, like, and sometimes the game hurts a lot. Like, sometimes it's really terrifying. Sometimes we die, and that's no fun, but then, you know, you pop back into another avatar or something, or a different dimension.
Yeah, how do you reconcile that with, like, like what I dreamt about or like woke up thinking about, which is like there's no fucking reason that we should be experiencing any of this. Like, I was really on that like earlier today, and I'm like, some days I'm like so fucking neutral and creating pretty seamlessly, and it's like playful and fun, and then I have a dream about China, China, and it's like.
Andrea had a similar dream recently. She was in a sea. She said it was a sea of red people converging on us. Like,
was she going like? Oh my god! Because that was okay. So there was an aspect of it. Oh, I thought we have like. I feel like I need to talk to her.
Yeah, probably. You guys are from the same state. You should.
And there's probably like, depending on the location, there's like probably like some similar stuff going on, right?
Do you have her on Fuckbook?
No, on Fascist Book, no. But I can. I will grab her. I will. If the internet doesn't, if all platforms don't just like go down because of the plan, whatever. Anyway, which is also something that like people are pouring their energy into, is that whole trust the plan, which
what
the
plan?
more of it, the Q plan.
The plan to delete everybody? Like, where's the plan?
Oh my gosh. What do you mean? I can't tell if you're being sarcastic or not.
I mean, partially, but I haven't seen any cohesive plan yet at all. I've just seen, like, people... The Q thing likes to say things like, we have sealed indictments for 100,000 people, and we're about to let all these loose, and then all of the pedos and the swamp is going to all go to jail. Okay, like, that's all I've heard so far, and as far as I can tell, the computer people, a.k.a. Biden and Clinton and all these other fucks, are just going along doing their same exact fucking thing they always do, and...
Yeah.
I don't see anything happening, honestly, like...
I don't know, I mean, so...
I'll be happy if it does. I'm not saying like... I'll be really happy if it does.
Well, okay, so so in September, I think of last year, because who fucking knows what time it is or what the fuck is going on, But like, I met a friend in Lauda's lucid dreaming class, and her and I just like were like, talking to each other like, fuck you, bitch, like sister, like, we were just like it was very compadre, very easy kind of a connection. And so and this is from, and I'm not going to name her name because I am going to drop some like info, but like, and I just don't know, I don't know. But so she, is like, well, these are like warring timelines, and people keep trying to fuck up the Q thing by making predictions of like when, because like if it is like the Sun Tzu Art of War sort of model, you never let the enemy know like when or what, so
right.
But I don't know, man, like I have to say, like, I cannot see him going quietly, like.
No, I mean,
dude.
It's setting up to have something happen, and Andrea also referenced that Art of War book, and she said whenever someone's about to make a move, they make sure that they look like the opposite is happening, right?
Right, and that's exactly what the astrology is saying, too, right now, because I have a different understanding of astrology and space before and after shattering, but, because I think space is just, like, right here, and I'll,
The secret space program is the program of organic humans' minds. That's what it is. Exactly. And, like, what if, like, we are the stargates or, like, various aspects of, like, Mother Earth that's in here with us are the stargates, but I do think that a lot of the timing and, like, a lot of the, like, pacing, like, really nicely lines up with the astrology, and, like, this shit is, like,
you know, like,
Yeah.
even just today, like, I would not be shocked if, like, something happens, because Jupiter is square Uranus, and that's, like, a whole, that equals huge, rippling, resounding change.
Okay.
And then on Inauguration Day, the chart is just, like, it's going to be the least expected outcome by anyone, you know, and however it looks in the narrative, which is the, like...
Drooling? Yeah.
Did I? Yeah, it's
like... glazed eyes, like your tongue is out, and you're just like...
wash your hands. Yeah, like...
Don't give me COVID.
Build back better.
I'm in the middle... Okay, I'm sitting down in the restaurant. Okay. COVID doesn't get me when I'm sitting down, thank God. We can take our masks off.
Speaking of, like, spiritual hive mind bullshit, like, I noticed so many intuitives as soon as Biden was, like, selected or whatever. Like, there were so many intuitives that I know who were, like, all saying the same thing. Like, whew, we can breathe. We still have work to do. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? No, but, like, we can breathe, but we still have work to do. Build back better. Girl boss Kamala, you know. And I was like, ugh, like, that just, you know, it looks like the least expected outcome in the narrative. So I'm hopeful, and I'm trying to use my consciousness to see these motherfuckers, like, tank, you know, but...
Yeah.
Maybe that's also being harvested, I don't know. But obviously, like, we know nothing until we know something, and nobody tells us anything.
Well, if this helps at all for the overall thing, my boss, he's my boss, but I consider him more of a friend. I've never had, like, a boss that was an actual empathetic human being, and this guy is, which is, like, astounding to me, but...
Tight.
Yeah, he's like, somehow he didn't book out work for this week because you have to book it out in December, or in not January. What comes before December? November? Yeah.
What is time? Is it the autumn leaves? Sorry.
Yeah, you're supposed to book it out in November because everyone's doing Christmas bullshit during December, right? That's the only way you get work in January. So he somehow didn't fill this particular week. So I'm going to be here for the next week. I'm going to be here during January 20th, which immediately told me, like, there's a very specific reason why you're going to be, like, with Andrea during that time.
Fuck yeah.
And I've never had a whole entire week off since I started working, like, 4 months ago. So I feel like something's going to pop off, but I'm very well, like, prepared to be disappointed, like how it usually happens when any predictions are happening. So,
like, what if it's, like, not the thing we want to pop off? What if it's, like, the Fourth Reich? Like, trust the plan, fucking idiots. You know? I don't know. I think it's, like, I mean, everything is, like, is a magic square, or, like, an egregore, or, like, whatever. Like, whoever is atop this realm in reality obviously has a really good understanding of chaos magic and that kind of thing, and you know, so I do think that, like, where the majority of consciousness goes, there is something to that. Like, we all kind of decide collectively what it is that we want, and I know that even since, like, the last 2 weeks, there are people that are like, Meredith, I might be a Republican now. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think, you know, I'm hopeful, and also, you know, do recognize that, like, to me, and, like, this is, like, my truest truth about everything, is that it just feels like...
Capital T?
Time... What?
Capital T?
Huh?
Capital T truth?
My truest truth,
I'm just
like, about things, which is probably bullshit anyway, you know? But, like... I mean, I just feel like there's, like, just such a timeline war going on, and, like, it is like a, a representation of like good versus evil, like Cain and Abel, or Enlil and Enki, or whatever, it's like that sort of like heaven and hell and right and wrong, and and everybody thinks everybody else is a Nazi, and it's just like, and I think too, and this is what I believe or I feel in my inner knowing, is that there is some kind of like worrying over like the end of this movie. Like it could be like plot twist, some bumps and bruises, happy ending, credits.
Yeah.
Or it could be like the Great Reset, or it could be the Great Reject, who knows, right?
How would that one go down?
They try to fucking like mandate crazy shit and everybody just is like, fuck you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Not everybody, because,
I mean, most of the regular, ordinary folks seem perfectly content to don a mask almost everywhere. And I see lots of people in their cars wearing their masks, which tells me they're fully brain dead. And that's kind of a little bit scary because they're driving like 3,000-pound vehicles right next to me. But apparently their, automatic programming has them driving okay. But if your brain doesn't work enough to give you any discernment with the mask thing, then I don't trust you. I just don't.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I think that, like with anything else, well, there's a couple of things that go on in my head about that, like where, like with anything else, I personally, in my own ethos, try to have compassion for the individual and be like, to the system itself for doing that and for making this be a thing that this is the reality that we're experiencing. I'm like not into that, but at the same time, I can only think of one person who is very like, and most of my friends, like especially coming into last year, were like very left leaning, and I was too. And like, but I have one friend who will like give me the space, and I feel that she is real because her whole family is fucking magical, and also just like, she gives me the space to share, and we joke about how I'm a Karen now, and by her definition,
Wait, why did she say that?
Because I'm like an anti-masker vaxxer now.
How does an anti-masker vaxxer fit under any definition of Karen?
Because that's the, I will not wear a mask, my freedoms. There's like a whole fucking meme that is that,
God.
I think it's, well, of course, like, and that is the thing, everybody is experiencing reality so differently, right? But that is the only person who actually is like, okay, I could see what you're saying there. Like exhalation, because I think exhalation serves a similar function to taking a shit, because it's a releasing mechanism.
Yeah, so you're basically breathing shit, you're recycling your own shit air. Yep.
Yeah, it's just like wearing a dirty diaper forever.
Yeah,
and I see a lot of like, because I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina. I know Colorado is a little bit more like Libbyton,
I don't know. I don't know if it is.
Maybe. Charlotte's very liberal for North Carolina.
Governmentally speaking, I think we're supposedly liberal leaning, but there's something about the fact that we're 1,000 feet up, or no, we're 5,000 feet up, and the air is clean, and it's a lot of like mountain folks around where we're at, and they're literally more alive than everyone on California I've ever encountered, and I was surprised the pants right off of me when I came out here, and just the regular people I work with, they're living human beings, and I hadn't seen anything like that for a really long time. It was very strange.
Oh my gosh, that's lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah, California is tricky right now, for sure. I have a friend who's out there, and she's just like...
It's very strange.
Yeah,
Pretty sure there are just every city is a frequency fence of sorts, and I think they're just pounding them on the West Coast quite severely.
Totally. Well, Charlotte in particular, I mean, I've never been in a place, and I was born here, raised here, where there's so much Freemasonry here. Like, there are lodges on every fucking corner, and it's like a banking town, so, like, the frequency of the money that we have here, the fiat money, is very, like, dense and very heavy, and, like, you know, so it's definitely got, like, some dark, you know.
Well, you have all those research facilities over there, too, don't you, in North Carolina?
Yeah, I mean, the original, like, Wuhan lab or whatever was actually, like, in a part of North Carolina. I don't know exactly where, but...
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah, there's definitely some interesting stuff. There was... Yeah. Yeah. There's just so much that I could say, and, like, I don't know what to say. So...
I don't know. I mean... I just know that, like, if you allow yourself to slip in this particular time, then it will take you for a ride. Like, it's going to take you for a ride. It's been trying to get me. It's been trying to get me, and I'm pretty unshakable for the most part. And this current energy has been trying to get me to be like, oh God, like, what's going to happen?
Yeah, I think I've been in that space a little bit. Probably just because of my, like, cycle. It's tricky, like... this body and this experience of density and just being like an incredibly feminine. I'm sure that Andrea relates to this as well. Like, cause I mean, you know, I have like my own way now of like viewing something like feminism, you know, which is extremely masculine, like in energy signature. And being, like, super, super feminine, super sensitive, is very, like, that's definitely, like, oppressive, you know, here, like, in terms of, like...
Oh, yeah, like...
Actual...
It's difficult to be that in this realm, right?
Yeah, fuck yeah, it is, because you're just basically, like, if you're not careful and if you're not using tools, like, pretty regularly, like, you wind up to be, like, some kind of, like, a... receptacle for BS.
Yeah, and you feel everyone's emotions around you, and you start soaking all that shit up if you haven't done all your, you know, sealing and whatnot.
Yeah, and like I don't know like what your like physical, mental, spiritual, emotional thing is, but for me, like I have to stay fucking so on top of it, or else I'm like. Of like all of those components, you know, and like I have to like do a specific diet, like, you know, where I'm like juicing and like fasting and, you know, I think food is a whole fucking program, but that's like maybe like another topic, you know, and yeah, I have to sit like 3 times a day or more, and like rewire the wiring, you know, so to speak. And...
Yeah, like a personal little reset. I used to need more, like, centering practices, and I used to meditate daily, do breathwork all the time. I don't do that as much anymore, and partially it's just like, you just...
Working.
You're working, or you're just like... even that itself is kind of a game at some point, and you're like, okay, here I am being present again. I've never not been present ever in all of eternity, but somehow I convinced myself I wasn't, so now I need to practice being present again. And then you do that, and 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 eventually you're just like, well, I'm just here, and I'm always here, and I'm never anywhere but here, but so I might as well just live my life and do something with it rather than fuck around and worry about shit.
Yeah, totally.
So that's kind of where I'm at now. It's just, you know, you can only carry that spiritual person doing spiritual things for so far of a distance before you're like, this is fucking boring, or I'm tired of this, or all the people here are just so full of shit that I can't even stand being in their vicinity anymore, so I need to go to another crowd, or just go to a forest, you know, hang out with the trees or something.
I do like that. There is something very special to me about nature and being out there, and so Yeah, I want to tell you about this experience I had in Dreamtime, like a couple of months ago, where like I did a 3-day fast and I ate an orange before, like, to kind of break it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you've ever done any fasting, but if you do, like, you get like real fucking like lucid, you know?
I did, yeah, I have.
Real quick, you know? And so I did that, and I kind of like felt, I would like laid down, and then I just like stood up, like energetically, you know? Yeah. And I was like, oh fuck, like shit, well I'm out. So it usually takes just like a lot of energy for me to do that. That's not common.
Uh-huh.
And so I fucking like, I was like, oh hey shadow creature, you know, go away. But then I was like, fuck it. And I just like, I went out and I was like, pew, you know, and I was like, go, 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 go. And whatever, like, I've felt before that's like, you know, that wasn't there as strongly, or maybe I was able to get out, and it was just like water.
Yeah.
And I was like, kind of just floating, and I was like, I want to see my family. Like my family, you know, like my real family, not like love my mom, love my dad, they're awesome, thank you, but also like, you know, ready to see like the real, you know? Mm-hmm. And so I met them, and it's just like the most beautiful experience. And they sort of like showed me how they could, what my origin was. And we just played, and that was just such a beautiful experience. Like,
wow. That was during your fast? Like you said a 3-day?
Yeah, it was right after. I mean, I broke it by eating. If you want a lucid dream, if you want to be like, eat like 2 oranges before you go to bed and see what happens. Like, there's something about citrus, you know?
I've had the sort of opposite effect on accident, where I drank like an entire half gallon of orange juice before I went to bed. And I had like I had the worst nightmares that whole entire night. Like it was like night terrors from start to finish. And I know it was because of that fucking orange juice. I don't know exactly how, but
was it like
I just drank too much of it.
Squeezed, or was it like fucking Tropicana? You know,
not Tropicana.
Sure that shit makes a difference.
No, it wasn't that, but it was just like your regular, you know, part pulp, just orange juice out of the container, and I just drank too much of it, like before I went to bed. And it just got me going, and never did that again. Now I'll have a glass of orange juice before I go to bed, but not a whole half gallon.
Or just like an orange, you know what I mean? But also, like, you know, different strokes, different folks. One size doesn't necessarily fit all, but like that is like a huge key for me in terms of like getting out. And I found out, and I've never said this. I mean, you couldn't consider this like publicly because maybe people that I know aren't watching this or don't care about this, which is fine. But I'm like a fairy, but like not in the way that you would think about here based on our fucked up, not our lore, you know, that we have, like, but like a out there fairy. It's like,
yeah, I could see it.
Yeah.
I think
kind of have like a similar, like, not fairy, but like definitely something like elemental.
Elves, right? Like elvish?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what Andrea said. She said she thinks we're elves. Mm-hmm.
Totally. I could see that, for sure. And,
some type of magical creatures that all of the, you know, I don't know, we got stripped down pretty good here.
Yeah, for sure. You know, and it's very, very interesting to kind of like see over the last few years how like suddenly what kind of soul type are you is like a BuzzFeed quiz, you know, of like, are you an Arcturian, or are you a Pleiadian? I'm pretty sure 99% of the people that think they're like Syrian or Arcturian are like, I don't know, you know, it's like there's probably thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of different kinds of beings out there and in here, and
yeah. I just wonder, like, I'm always curious as to, from the outside, assuming that, you know, the galaxy is infinite or close to it, and there are just so many different types of beings and types of living and ways of doing things, experiences, lifespans, etc., looks, physical looks. I wonder, like, from the outside, what does this little fucking shithole look like from the outside? And is it actually really affecting the outside, or is that just another narrative in here that tries to scare people?
I don't know. I mean, I didn't really look back until I woke up. Like, you know, so, like, in that one experience, which is the only time, except for memory, that I've ever, like, consciously busted out, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But if I can do it once, I can do it again, damn it.
Yeah.
I fucking will.
How did you come back then? Did you want to come back?
I think that, so it's tricky because now I don't remember. It's trying to hold on to any memory is like trying to hold on to like just air, you know, but like, I don't remember how I woke up, and honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if I was like, because what I think, there's a point at which there's gaps there where I wasn't as conscious as I was when I got out initially and when I had those experiences initially that night. Like, so one of the things that I've kind of like come to realize is that once you get up to a certain level in the game, be it in consciousness or in awareness or lucidity or like whatever it is, like you kind of show up on a radar, you know? Mm-hmm. And we probably already are on radars, you know, but
most likely.
But yeah, so you know, it wouldn't surprise me, and I don't think I dreamt for like 4 nights after that as punishment. But I don't know. I don't remember anything really about like other than the peace that I have, which I will hold. Because like people are like, this is the end of the world, this is the end of the movie, which I feel that. But like, what if we just like die old and like nothing changes?
I mean, I wouldn't mind being able to actually play here without being warred on 24/7. Like, that'd be fine with me.
Yeah.
I just my whole attitude to this place is just like an eternal shaking of my head. Like, just I'm disappointed in general that this has had to go on for so long. I'm disappointed that there are so many people with their heads up their asses. I'm disappointed that there aren't more people that are fucking grabbing the thing by the fucking balls, because that's what you have to do at some point when there's something that's abusing you. You have to take a stand at some point.
For sure. Yeah, and I've definitely been, like, very publicly... I mean, I shared my whole, awakening, you know, on YouTube, because I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I cannot be the only person that's dealing with this right now.
Do you have a channel?
Yeah.
Do you want to share that?
Okay. Sure. It's Meredith's Lucky Stars. I do talk a little bit about astrology and my experiences and what I perceive to be going on, and I'm just like normalize other perspectives.
Okay.
You know?
I think people will be interested to check your channel out. Maybe.
Yeah, I would love to, you know, talk to whoever, or, you know.
Okay, I found you.
Yay. Party.
Yep.
New friends. Yeah, wow.
Well, we're coming up on 2 hours, and...
Oh, shit.
I think it's...
I haven't looked at the time at all, but that's good. That means I'm doing the good thing that I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
Per my own orders.
Yep. Andrea's back. I think...
Andrea!
Hi!
Hi! How's it going?
How are you?
I'm good. I have heard that... So I know that you grew up in North Carolina, right?
Yeah.
I've living in Charlotte right now, and apparently we have a lot to talk about. So sometime.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
Add her on Fascist Book, okay?
Fascist. Yeah, I think we're friends on Instagram.
Okay, cool.
I think. Are we?
I think so. Yeah, cause yep.
Okay. Yeah, I'll add you on Facebook too.
Right on. Who knows if it's gonna be up, for too much longer? But yeah.
Making me angry this week.
Huh?
It's been making me really angry this week.
It's a whole
In
ass
particular.
weaponized shit show. Like it literally is.
Yep.
We've got enough food and we got some water, so
I
we're
just
kind of
got
partially taking it seriously.
Popcorn.
We got actual popcorn.
Oh, you did? I have like a whole fucking stockpile. I started like preparing for something in March of last year, and I never really stopped. So
Yeah.
I guess like the objective. So I'm living with my mom now, and like saving for like in the event that I'll need to, like a yurt, or something like
We've
a
talked
shipping
about
container to bury.
You're
But
gonna go underground?
I don't know. I mean, I would like to just if it is gonna get kind of weird, I would like to be away from like the big show. But I was saying like if it is just gonna be like 2 weeks or a month or whatever of like no internet or something, and I can share my food that I have now. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of. I have a couple go bags. I'm fucking like, fuck with me. But
yeah. I've never done any prepping whatsoever, and I'm kind of only doing it now because she's thinking we should do some, so I'm like, okay, whatever. So we got a couple like 2.5 gallon things of water, and we've got plenty
Nice.
of like non-perishable foods. So I don't know.
That's good.
I think
Just
if
it
the
kind
whole
of feels like this is the time to like have something like that.
yeah.
But I don't know if it's necessarily like, yeah, I'm hoping that can you imagine like the validation of like emergency broadcast? This is what Gary's been saying all along. Y'all are stupid idiots. Like, can you imagine? There's like a petty Betty that like lives rent free in my head that's like, I fucking told you,
I mean, yeah, it would be nice. That would actually be the most funny option was if, they came over the emergency broadcast system and said, like, we were bored, so we made up this thing, but now we're kind of out of energy to continue it, so, like, you guys are, as you always have been, autonomous and in control of your own self and your own reality, and carry on. Like, I would fucking laugh my ass off.
That's like the least expected outcome for sure. Like, I think if they are going to do any kind of disclosure, it would be like the old guard, like the central banks, the Vatican, like, this is what your like girl boss political heroes have been up to, like, and even that would be fine with me. I would rather disclosure than erasure,
Yeah.
But who knows? I mean, I'm unattached, wink. I'm probably not as detached as I should be.
We're all somewhat attached. Let's see. Hello, Lauren. We got Michelle in here.
Oh,
Oof.
I'm sorry, baby.
Someone's stepping on the cat.
I'm sorry.
Got Zebextron.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, so it's been a good time.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
If the realm is still around, after this week, you can come back on sometime and
Yeah.
you and Andrea could do a show
too.
maybe.
Yeah, that would be great. Okay, well, take care of yourself. Take care of each other.
Yep. You as well.
Okay. All right. Bye.
Don't nobody ever let any fear get to you. Just it's silly. Don't.
Heal your fear. Heal your fear. Fucking do it.
Just
All right, bye.
Do something cool. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Peace.
Peace.
Okay. Fabian is still going on about pine pollen. You getting high on pollen again, Fabian?
He knows the good stuff.
All right. Thank you all for joining. I appreciate everybody giving their time on this day before the apocalypse, or it's like 3 days before.
Who fucking knows?
Who knows? So, something might happen. Yeah. Thanks again for hanging out. Peace, love, and happiness. Go get high on pine pollen.